Hi, guys. Hey, Top Cat, TSP. Please let me know if you can hear me because I was messing around with my microphone earlier, ditched the other microphone. I just don't have my setup that great, but hopefully my lighting is decent and my sound is okay. So can you please let me know that you can hear me and I'm not just talking over here in a mute way? Hi, Mary. I know there's a little delay. So I'm just waiting to get the thumbs up. Hey, Jude. Hey, Jude. How often do you hear that? Okay, you can hear me, Top Cat. I think find the glasses. I believe that's a thumbs up. How's everybody doing out there? Lisa Campbell. Well, we've got a nice little group already. Okay, good. You can hear me. How's everybody doing out there? Postpart. Oh my God, we're getting a nice group. I love it. Gang's all here. Gang's all coming in. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night chat. Beasley's over there doing a little whining, so we'll have to see. Really? It's wagging its tail at me and whining. We'll have to see how it goes. So good. Everybody can hear me all right. And I bet you can hear him too. I think I'm going to let him out because he's in the crate. He's been sleeping in there, but he puts himself in there now. He times himself out and takes a nap, but now he's whining. So let me go get him. I will be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh. Come on. Get him out. Where's your boy? All right. Or you could stay in. So funny. He stays in. The door's open and he stays in there. Okay, you could hear him. I know. He's out now. Hi, boy. He just wants to be at my feet. I'm going to show you my flower arrangement I made today for fun before we get started. This was from my lesson today. I told her I wanted to do this style, which is this kind of airy style of a hand-tied bouquet. It's called a hand-tied bouquet. And this vintage vase that I got, and this is what we made. Isn't it pretty? Hang on. He's biting my feet. No. Hang on. Sorry for the disruption. It's puppy life. And Dad's not here right now. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Here. Time for the treats to come out. Good boy. There you go. There you go. He's so funny. You give him a treat and he takes off to the other room to eat it in solitude. So welcome, everybody. 11 of you in here. Grab a refreshing beverage. I've got the beverage department covered. I've got my sparkling water and my strawberry matcha, which I am into. Thank you, Mary. I had a lot of fun with it. And I have another story to tell at another time based on the magicalness of the other bouquet and where it landed today, but we're not going to talk about that today. That's for another day. So we're going to start today off with someone reciting a poem to us because this is a very important person who passed this week named Andrea Gibson, the poet laureate of Colorado, someone who I just discovered maybe within the last year, very powerful force in the world. And she just passed the 14th, 2 days ago, of cancer. And so in honoring her, and this poem is sort of in keeping with the story I'm going to tell you tonight in some ways, we are going to take in a poem by Andrea Gibson. Figure out how to share the screen here again. And we're going to start off with that. It's called Royal Heart. So just take a breath, sit back, and take in these few moments with Andrea Gibson. May she rest. Where did that go? Okay, let me remove that. This thing is being wacky, so... Oh, you were Top Cat? Okay. You were listening to her. I don't know. This thing is being a little bit wacky right now for some reason. We'll remove it and then we'll add it again. There we go. Let me get out of the way. If it'll let me do that. I don't think it lets me get completely off, but you get the drift.
You will never be let down by anyone, more than you will be let down by the one you love most in the world. It's how gravity works. It's why they call it falling. It's why the truth is harder to tell. Every year you have more to lose. But you can choose to bury your past in the garden beside the tulips. Water it till it is so alive. It lets you go, and you belong to yourself again. When you belong to yourself again, remember forgiveness is not a tidy grave. It is a ready, loyal knight kneeling before your royal heart. Call in your royal heart. Tell it bravery can never be measured by a lack of fear. It takes guts to tremble. It takes so much tremble to love. Every first date is a fucking earthquake. Sweetheart, on our first date, I showed off all my therapy. I flaunted the couch where I finally sweat out my history, pulled out the photo album from the last time I wore a lie to the school dance. I smiled and said, that was never my style. Look how fixed I am. Look how there's no more drywall on my fist. Look at the stilts I've carved for my short temper. Look how my wrist is not something I have to hide, I said. Well, I was hiding it. And the telephone pole still down from the storm. By our third date, I had fixed the line. I said, listen, I have a hard time. I mean, I cry as often as most people pee, and I don't shut the door behind me. I'll be up in your face screaming, Seattle is too rainy. Seattle is too rainy. I'm never going to be able to live here, I sobbed on our fourth date. I can't live here. My body, I mean. I can't live in my body all the time. It feels too much. So if I ever feel far away, no, I am not gone. I am just underneath my grief, adjusting the dial on my radio faith so I can take this life with all of its love and all of its loss, because I already know you are the place I'm going to finally sing without any static, meaning I'm never going to wait that extra 20 minutes to text you back. And I'm never going to play hard to get when I know your life has been hard enough already, when we all know everyone's life has been hard enough already. It's hard to watch this game we make of love, like everyone's playing chess with their scars, saying checkmate whenever they get out without a broken heart. Just to be clear, I don't want to get out without a broken heart. I intend to leave this life so shattered, there's going to have to be 1,000 separate heavens for all my separate parts, and none of those parts are going to be wearing the romance from the overpriced vintage rack. That is to say, I'm not going to get a single speed bike if I can't make it up the hill. I know exactly how many gears I'm going to need to love you well, and none of them look hip. At the coffee shop, but they'll all have God saying, good job. You're finally not full of bullshit. You finally met someone who's going to flatten your kneecaps into skipping stones. Baby, throw me as far as I can go. I don't want to leave this life without ever having come home. And I want to come home to you. I can figure out the rain.
That was an experience. That is an experience. What a force. I've been also Top Cat taking in her work today and yesterday on YouTube. She's got a YouTube channel, and I recommend visiting it if you're so inclined. So I wanted to start off with that for many reasons, but I don't know that I completely understand, but that is poetry. Yeah, you don't have to completely understand it if it just moves you and you feel something. I think that's good art, is hoping that it makes you feel something. Please forgive me because I am giving my dog treats down underneath here because he's feeling something, which is being a little needy for my attention, which is fine. So please bear with me. So I'm going to tell a story about my road to love. Because Jude asked me, the story of meeting my husband. I told it on the other channel way back, and it's a good story. I will tell that again, but I'm going to tell you one story along the road to love. I've also told this again, but it's probably one of the most profound things that happened to me in my sort of journey toward finding myself and how I needed to change and how I needed to be in relationship with myself so that I could break out of my own patterns and find something that was going to work and meaningful and true love, which I've been in for 10 years now. So I do feel like I have a testimony, but trust me, I had my share of tests. Was single for 20 years. I'd been married before, divorced, was single and looking and dating for 20 years. This story I'm going to tell you happened about 15 years ago. And that's right, Jamie, the beauty of art, it speaks to it well. So I'm going to look at the camera and I'm going to trust that mods are going to moderate in case we get any riffraff coming in here, just handle it for me. And then after telling this story, I'll put you guys, bring the comments up and we'll chat. This dog is very rambunctious right now, so we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to do my best. I just have a lot of treats here. So this story happened in 2011. And I found some pictures to go with it this time. So this is going to have some visual aids that go with this story this time. And it has to do with falling down to get back up again. So I was out there dating. I would cycle in and out of trying to date. And I was 50. So like, what do you do? And I worked alone. I had a sole proprietor business. So I didn't have like co-workers. At 50, most of your friends are married with kids and families and stuff. So it's not like you have a lot of single friends. I was lucky if I, had a single friend that I could hang with. He's now humping. He's trying to hump me. No, here, take the sack instead. Here, take that. He's just quite rambunctious today. Yeah, dating, hug. So there I am. All of my friends and I that were single and like trying to figure it out. Like, how do we do this? Pause. I'm going to have to, he's just biting me too much. Come on, boy. You're going in the bedroom. Come on, boy. Let's go. I'll be back. Hang on a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Come on, boy. You love the bedroom. Come on. Look at this. Your snack. Come on. Here you go. Here. Go. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's just always kind of improv when you have a puppy. So I hope to be able to focus here. Hi, Leanne. So this is in 2010. And I've decided to pull the plug. I've been out there. This was before apps. So this was when we were using online dating. And, sometimes we were really having fun with it. I might have a single girlfriend. I'll show you a picture of my one single girlfriend. And then she met somebody. So I was like, oh, now I'm back, trying to figure this out on my own again. But we would have fun with it because we would be on whatever online dating site. And we would share, have you run into this one? Have you run into that one? And then we'd each go on dates and then we'd reconnect. Sometimes we'd go on a double date. I mean, we had fun with it. But, that was because I had a buddy system, which I often did not have. But this was around the time that I was not well physically and didn't quite know what was wrong with me and hadn't received a full diagnosis yet of my adrenals and my thyroid were crashing. All I knew was I was coming home from work at 7:00 and wanting to go to bed. And every night just getting tired, but then also wanting to have a social life. So it was a very awkward time. But I realized, it's, as those of you who are single and out there in sort of midlife, it's not easy. It is not easy. And you have to keep putting yourself out there. And there's a lot of disappointment and rejection and you being in a position where you have to do the rejecting, which is difficult. And, it's really, you have to go through a lot to meet somebody that's even worthy of a second date, right? And, getting yourself ready for it is particularly challenging for women. I'm just speaking for women in that age group. And you're going to find out in this story that there's a lot of expectations for your physical appearance and things like that when you're of that age where, many men are feeling quite entitled to a much younger woman or a woman of that age who looks much younger. And, this is Arizona, that's Scottsdale, which is the capital of plastic surgery in the country. And so there's just a lot of that, going on. And so, you're out there just trying to put yourself out there and trying to find creative ways to meet people and that sort of thing. I pulled the plug on it. So, and that would happen. My friends and I would sort of cycle in and out of it. Like, I can't do it anymore. I'm going off this website. I'm, taking a break. And I was in that kind of a moment where I just had a bad experience, a bad date, a disappointing experience. And so I just pulled the plug on it, and said, I'm not going to do it anymore. But there was one guy, I don't remember his name anymore. It's funny. It's like he's disappeared, but the story has remained in my mind clearly. So he was a teacher. He taught some sort of science in high school. And he was also some sort of a coach, an athletic coach. And he was a runner. And, he just seemed like a really low key, cool guy. And I just saw maybe a couple pictures of him, like he was bald and, just, he was pleasant looking. And, but there was just something about him that his demeanor was pretty chill. But I told him, he wanted to meet, and I told him, you know what, I'm taking a break from this. Maybe we'll cycle back around again, but I can't do it. I'm just taking a break. And he was being respectful of that. But by the same token, he kept coming back. He must have had my email address because he was coming back. I don't know. I don't remember the details of how we communicated, but he just kept being very persistent and writing me these messages saying, Kathy, I have such a feeling about you and me. I understand and I respect that you need to take a break, but please, would you just consider giving me a chance to just meet me? Because I just have such a strong feeling about you and me. And he just kept being persistent, saying that over and over again. And I was just freaking exhausted, and he wore me down, and I just thought, okay, I'll let this one person like slip through. And, I deleted everything and resigned off of everything, but I decided to meet him. Remember, it was a Saturday. I lived in the Phoenix area, which is very spread out. So if you're going to go anywhere, like I lived in what's called the East Valley in Tempe, and I was going to a meeting. I was working for this volunteer organization, and we had like a meeting on a Saturday when everybody could meet that was across town. So it takes me like 45 minutes to get to this meeting. The meeting was kind of long, and then this date was after the meeting. What was weird was this guy picked a time for a pizza restaurant, ironically, the pizza restaurant that my sister was working at the time she died, which I was like, is that a sign? Is that whatever? But the date was for like 2:00 on a Saturday. And I'm like, what is that at a restaurant? Is that lunch? Is that early dinner? Like, it was just such a weird time. And so anyway, it just started out weird. So I pull up and I'm already tired because I was like physically, I wasn't clear yet on what I was going through, but I just knew that I was tired. I had started gaining weight. I was, and I found out later that my thyroid and adrenals just had tanked. And so this is what I was sort of physically going through. And I just didn't want to go, because I'd gotten up early to go to this meeting, been in this meeting, and now I have to drive back and show up at this date. So I drive into the parking lot of this restaurant, and there he is. And my first impression was like, wow, that's unexpected. He looked way older than I thought he was. Now, I don't know, he could have been the age that he said he was, but just looked older. But, part of my job was as a myofascial release therapist was assessing people's posture. That's literally part of my job. People stand up and I look at their posture from all different angles to see what's going on in their fascial system. So, it's very obvious for me to, assess, to just notice that. And he was so incredibly hunched over. And it's like, wow, this guy is a runner. Like, how is he running on that body? Like, I remember that the first thought I had is like, he's killing himself with that running on that structure like that. Just started looking at him like, from that, not very romantic, is it? But it was striking, this posture. And so I'm like, that's unexpected. So we go into the restaurant and I'm like, we don't even get anything to eat because it's like not lunch, it's not dinner, it's just weird. We get something to drink. We're sitting there. And I mean, this man was so like this across the, like his head was so far down. It was pronounced, this postural thing. Like it was distracting, but we're talking and he's not that interesting and I'm not that interested. And, now you're just like making small talk with somebody that you're pretty clear you're just being polite to, that it's really not going to go anywhere. And just wanted to go home. I was tired. But for whatever reason, I agreed to go to a park because it was a beautiful day out. And he's like, well, let's just go take a walk in a park. We weren't very long at this. I mean, it just seemed weird for me to say, I'm just going to go home after like a half an hour. But he's like, oh, it's a beautiful day. Let's go for a walk at such and such a park. So we do. We go over to this park to take a walk. And all I'm thinking is, I just want to lay down in the grass. I just want to lay down in this grass. So we go to this park. Hang on. Sit. Good boy. And we're sitting at this park and I just lay down because I'm just like so tired. I'm not being a good date either. I'm admitting that, I'm not being very charming and sparkling or whatever. And I shouldn't have even agreed to do that. But I did for whatever reason. And I had plans that evening too, to go, because it's like a 2:00 date. It's not even really a date. It's like a first meeting. Well, yeah, I had plans to go to a party that night. So I mentioned that and then we're sitting in this park silent. He's not even talking to me. It was just so weird. And so I'm just sort of leaning back and he's quite a distance from me and like just people watching. It was just so awkward. And like, I was just enjoying the rest of laying in the grass. And, I'm feeling so awkward. Like I should be making conversation. I said, you're awfully quiet over there. And he says something so creepy. Like, well, I don't want to sit too close to you because I'm afraid I would jump on top of you or something like that. I'm like, what? Like it came out of nowhere. And I just sort of laughed it off. And then shortly thereafter, I'm like, well, I need to get home because I think I'm just tired and I need to take a nap. And I've got this party tonight. He's like, you've got a party tonight? You made plans for tonight? And I'm thinking, you thought this date was going to start at 2:00 and go through the whole evening? Like, that's a little strange. And, but at that point, I'm like, yeah, I'm going home, I'm being very polite to him, but like, I'm trying to just cut this thing off. And so we're walking to the car and he says another bizarre thing. Cause I said, well, I'm going to just go home and take a nap. What are you going to do the rest of your afternoon? And he goes, well, I thought I'd come home and take a nap with you. Like, this is inappropriate, and like, is he joking? Is he not? But even if he was joking, it's creepy. So that's the end of it. I say goodbye to him in the parking lot. That's the end of it. Boom, done. And go home and take my nap, go to the party that night. And now I have a story to tell my friend, because we're always getting together like, okay, how was yours? How was yours? So now, at least chalk it up to another strange story in the list of stories we're telling each other about. At least we get that out of it, right? So that's the end of it. Well, I'm hoping I don't hear from him again. I'm hoping that he didn't like me either, or he picked up that this wasn't a match or whatever. And that's the best case scenario, is that you just don't hear from the person again, right? Sorry. That when you've, had an experience like that. So I'm like, don't hear from him the next day. And he had been pretty regularly in contacting me. So I didn't hear from him the next day. Don't hear from him the next day. So I'm like, okay, I don't have to deal with this now, because it's also hard to be on the side where you're rejecting somebody. It's hard to be on that side too, and to know the right words to say. And because some people, when they get rejected, they get very testy about it, and they sting you back, no matter how you do it, no matter how you say it, no matter how polite you are, no matter, like, they just don't handle that well at all. So, and you don't know. I mean, it's a stranger, right? So it's better that you just don't even have to do it at all. And it just sort of like fizzles. And I'm hoping that's, a few days go by, maybe 3 days. I think it's the third day after the date. So I come home from work. I'm getting ready to fix dinner. It's one of those, like, I just want to eat something, go to bed, and it's like 7:00. I flip open my laptop that's sitting on my dining table. And that site that I met him on comes up on my laptop. So I hadn't totally closed out on or whatever. Somehow it comes up, but I never talked to anybody else. He was the one and only person I ever met on that particular site. And I don't realize that it's on my screen, but so I'm in cooking dinner and I hear this bloop sound and I go over, I'm like, oh shit, I'm signed on to this site. And the person can see that I'm there, who I'm already connected with. So it had a chat feature. So I look at the little bloop thing and it's this guy and he writes like hello or something like that. And I'm like, this is me literally saying out loud, oh shit, I'm going to have to deal with this guy now. I literally said that out loud in my dining room. I'm going to have to deal with this guy now. I don't have the energy to do it. So I just decided to ignore it, because he doesn't know if I'm sitting right there in front of my computer. He can't see me. He just knows that like it shows that I'm online. That's all he can see. So I just ignore it, make my dinner. And then I go back and check and a few more messages have come in like, are you there? Stuff like that. Well, I'm not answering those. So that's kind of your answer, right? I'm not there. I'm not responding. So I go about my business, make my dinner, go up and change in my pajamas, probably come back. And this is the message that I have from this man. Let me see if I can remember it exactly. Well, Kathy, I just wanted to tell you, this is in the chat of this thing, that as much as it was nice meeting you the other day, I just need to let you know that I'm looking for a woman who is more fit than you are and less overweight than you are. Did I mention that this guy was also chubby? No, I was too, and I kind of am, but he was also, because he had this hunched over and he had this paunch. I didn't mention that. Like, I'm looking at him like, you're a runner, like in my mind thinking, you're either running on this very, very unstable structure. The therapist in me is thinking that looking at him, or you're lying because ain't no way you're running a lot with that body. I would have never, ever, ever said it. And that wasn't the reason. I just felt nothing with him. And it was weird. There was just no vibe, there was no chemistry whatsoever. But this man is deciding because I'm not answering him, I'm not responding to him, that he's going to take this moment to body shame me. So let me show you right now. I went back looking for a reality check of what I looked like back then. And thanks to Facebook, I went back and I found pictures of myself from that phase of my life, which are where? All right, these are some pictures of what I looked like at that time in my life. So I am like 52 years old in these pictures. I'm like 51, 52. So a lot of these pictures were in the fall of 2009, but I met him like January of 2010. So these are within like 3 or 4 months of meeting this guy. This is the person he is telling is not attractive enough for him. I'm just giving you a reality check because I was in a phase of my life where I feel like I was looking pretty good. There I am with my friend Teresa. We're out for, this is like New Year's Eve that year, 2009 to 2010. There we are again, me and Teresa. There are a lot of pictures with me and Teresa because we would go to Vegas and have these great times. There's me with my friend Teresa again. There I am again. He wouldn't go out with a woman who was as overweight and out of shape as me. And that was my body back then. That was my body back then. So all of these were taken like, I would say this was around my birthday. So it was like November of 2009. And I met him like 2 months later. So, I'm curvy and that sort of thing at that time. But that's the woman he told was too overweight for him. And this man told me he was probably like 55 and he looked about 68 and he was chubby and said that to me. So yeah, I dug up these pictures for the reality check of the whole situation. And that is actually what I looked like at that time in my life. So, but here's the thing, guys. I wasn't into this guy. I wasn't attracted to him. I didn't care what he thought of me ultimately. But let me tell you, those words that he said that I read on that screen cut me like a freaking sword. I sat there and I looked at it and I could not believe it that this guy had delivered that to me, the cruelty of that. And, he just was clearly just trying to hurt me. And so, because I wasn't responding to him in the timing that he wanted or the way that he wanted or whatever, I didn't respond to him in like maybe a 45-minute window. And that's what he decided to do. Let me tell you, I ended up sitting on my sofa in the dark, so stunned and frozen from this stranger's cruelty to me that I couldn't move. I'm telling you the truth of how this was for me. It cut something deep in me that had clearly nothing to do with him. It was like, if someone like that, like, it's hopeless for me. If someone like that thinks that I'm not good enough for him, there were so many layers of this being painful for me. And like I said, it had nothing to do with him. It ultimately, but he delivered the blow. And it really, really shocked me. And it was a jolt. I'm not going to lie. I probably sat there like that in the dark for close to 2 hours, like just so overly affected by this. But, it's like, dude, I kind of came out of not dating for you and then you're going to go here. This is where you're going to go. And men that want to hurt a woman, they're always going to go to your body. And some women will too. Yeah. There's some women out there right now that are having fun with that, body shaming me right now. I mean, women can be way worse than men, but they've learned it from men. So they've experienced it probably from men, but that's a whole other story. So I finally kind of came out of it. And I responded to him, but not in that I deleted out of that account. Like I got it, like suddenly that whole site just became like completely toxic. I like deleted my whole account and like backed out of that. And like, this is dangerous place for me, And then but I had his email address. So I sent him an email. And basically what I said was I just delivered a very intellectual response to that. Like, I received your message. Thank you for clarifying my discomfort that I had with you on the date, because now I see the person that you are. And I knew that I was uncomfortable with you and I was never going to see you again. But now I understand why that was. Don't ever contact me again. It was just like that. But, it was just I probably should have ignored it, but me being me, I said something back. So that was the end of it. And I said, I got to stop this. If that stranger and that asshole who I don't even care about, who I had no interest in, has the power to affect me like that, that's a me problem. And I need to go about fixing this. I need to go about healing this wound, because this is ridiculous that I had this big response to this jerk who I don't care about him or his opinion of me. But clearly I'm going out there dating, wearing this wound, and I'm not protected, and so I need to deal with this. So I just swore off the whole thing. Stopped dating for or even trying to, or being even open to it for like a year after that. So, and told all my friends, like, I got to pull the plug on this. And then I went about working on my health and, realizing that I was like not well physically and, all that kind of stuff, and sort of got myself back together. So fast forward. So this is like a year later after working on myself and everything. And I never heard from this guy again, which I actually did, but during this year I didn't. So there is the following year, I don't remember what month, it was the fall again, I think. So the following year, there is this bridge that's opening up in my town. I will show you a picture of this bridge. Oh, no, see, I don't know why this thing is being wacky. Hang on. It's not presenting very well. Okay, all right. This bridge right here was built, and they were having a grand opening to this bridge. And I became obsessed with this bridge, going to this bridge. And one of my friends was turning 50. It was her birthday. And so I said, we are going to go for your birthday. It's the not grand opening of this bridge. And I have a plan and we're going to do it. So I packed a picnic, brought another friend. There were, 3 of us, and went to this bridge and like did this whole thing where we had a picnic on the side of the bridge. And then as the sun was setting, and then see how this bridge came to life with this blue cast. I mean, it was just this fantastic thing. And it was the grand opening. So there was a lot of people milling around. And I said, we are going to walk this bridge with intention. And so when you look at this bridge on the left, that's one side of it. It goes across this man-made lake. And then on the other side was like a more undeveloped area, because on the side to the left is like the Tempe Center for the Arts. And that's where the parking lot was. And they might have had even a food truck there or something like that. On the other side was almost nothing but like a walking path and like a couple benches on the other side, on the right side that you're looking at here. So I said, what we're going to do is we're going to step onto this bridge. And as we take our first step, we are going to think of what we want to let go of and walk across this bridge and imagine whatever it is that I'm going to come back on the thing here and imagine whatever it is that we're letting go of, just floating out of us like a mist behind us, like creating like a, jet trail, whatever those things are, vapor trail of whatever it is that we're letting go of. We're going to walk across this bridge one way, and we're going to just set this intention that we're just letting go of, and we don't even have to tell each other what it is. And then as we walk, then we're going to pause on the other side, because this was sort of like a 50th birthday ritual thing. And I had this in my mind. I wanted to do it anyway on the grand opening of this bridge. So I said, then when we walk the other way, we're going to open ourselves in the front and feel whatever it is replacing that. We're going to just be open to whatever is going to come in to replace that which we just let go of. And I said, we're going to call this the Bridge of Dreams, and we're going to, do this dream walk on this bridge. So, I have friends that are into this kind of thing. So the other one hadn't gotten there. So it was just, anyway, that part of it doesn't matter, but it was just my one friend and I, Linda and I. So we get on this bridge. Hang on, let me find another. And I don't know why it's not letting me there. I took this that night. I took this picture that night. So the moon was coming up, full moon. I mean, it was just magical this night on this bridge. And hang on, I've got some other pictures of it. Here we go. Hang on one second. Here. Sorry, I got my dog trying to. That's me and my brother doing exactly that. See, we're holding hands and we're putting one foot. I've taken many people to this bridge to do this. There he is again. So this is the night that we're doing it. So we take each other's hand, Linda and I. We do not tell each other what our thing we're letting go of, but I'm ready to get back out there and find love again. I don't even tell her that. I don't even think I told anybody that. I'm like, it's time. I've taken all this time away to myself. I've been working on myself and working on my health. I was back in counseling. Like, I need to change. I need to repair, what is going on, that something like that would hurt me so bad. And, the unkind words of a stranger. So anyway, we start walking. Linda and I start walking. And we're walking across this bridge. Looks like that, in silence. And we're walking, we're not holding hands anymore, but we're just walking with intention, like with this letting go. And if you were to just see it, you'll just look like two people walking side by side. There are people all over the bridge. There are people walking dogs, people riding bikes, families with strollers, just rollerblading. There are so many, it's the grand opening. So there's all kinds of activity going on the bridge. As you can imagine, we get about 2/3 of the way across this bridge. Sorry, he's just being very, hey, go get it. We get about 2/3. I want to see my face. We get about 2/3 of the way across. And I see this guy on a great big bicycle with a dog, with a big dog, a large dog. And he's coming up with a big fat cigar, And so it's just catches your attention, right? This guy riding this cruiser, and he's got this big fat cigar that's making its own vapor trail, its own smoke trail, right? And he's got a dog on a leash and, coming toward us. And so, when you see someone with a dog, you greet the dog like, hi, how's it going? And that's what I do, greet the dog. You know where I'm going here, right? Look up to the bike. It's that man. It's that man that I went on that date with is riding the freaking bike with his stinky cigar. And in our vapor trail, he rides right in there with his smoke. And in Native American traditions, that would mean clearing it. The tobacco clearing that bridge with his stinky, big tobacco cigar. And I'm like, oh my God, Linda. And he did not even look at me. Normally when you greet somebody with their dog, speaking of dogs, I have got Beasley. This is not okay. I'm sorry. I know you want my attention, but the biting of my feet is not okay. Here, be a good boy. Come on. We're working with him with this. Normally, when you greet somebody with their dog, they make eye contact with you, like, oh, thanks, whatever. This guy did not look at me at all. It's not like he looked at me and looked away or recognized me or anything. He's just looking straight ahead on this bike and riding it with this dog. Does not even know I exist. I look at the dog, look up at him, and I was like, holy shit, Linda, because Linda knew this whole story that happened the year before. I'm like, that is that dude. I can't believe it. I'm shaking because I'm like, I am literally, and we go and sit on the bench. I am shaking. I'm like, I am literally letting go of everything. I said, take everything from me that is an obstacle in the way of true love finding me. Just take it, just remove it. Anything that is in me that is an obstacle, just wash it away. And this man presents himself on a bike with a cigar. So Linda, who I've not even told what I'm letting go of, I'm sitting on the bench on the other side. There's nothing there but a couple of benches. And I'm like shaking. And I'm like, Linda. And she goes, I know what your wish was. I know what it was. Like she intuited that without me even having to say anything to her. I said, that was that guy. She completely got the unbelievableness of this. So we're sitting there taking all this in and we are digesting all of this. And we're not even really talking as much as I cannot freaking believe that. The symbol of what I'm letting go of just whooshed right by me into my vapor trail. So we're sitting there digesting it, right? So as we're sitting there, like I said, there's all kinds of activity going on. And all the way on the other side of the bridge, we see illuminated in the blue light, some other lights starting to shine. Pause. I'm going to have to deal with this dog. Come here, boy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on, boy. I know you're being a little too. Come on. Come on. Come on. Sit. 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 You cannot be biting at mama like that. Nope. We will play when I'm done here, okay? Don't be biting at me like that. Okay, good boy. Okay. All right, so we're sitting there looking toward the end and digesting all of this and taking it in. And of course, Linda is as affected by this as me because she saw it, she experienced it, she knew that whole story. She was a close friend of mine. And so we're looking down all the way across. So let me show you this one again. So you can, wrong one. That one. So you can see the length of this. So we're sitting all the way at the right side of this bridge, looking all the way down to the other side. And by the way, I'm going to show you one of what the bridge looked like that night. Look at that. So those are all the people. See all those people? That's probably from the grand opening. See all those people on the bridge? That was the vibe of it that night. So we're way down on the far side, looking all the way across through all of these people, and we see this happening on the other side. And we're like, what is that over there? Now we are getting ready to walk back into that, like we're opening ourselves up to coming in. I'm thinking this man better not come back across, which of course he didn't, because now we're opening up the front, like opening up our heart to like, let's just receive. Now we let go of whatever we needed to let go of, known or unknown. And now let's receive what we need to receive to replace that. So that was, the whole, ritual of this thing. So we're looking ahead, we're getting ready to walk, and we're both like, what is that? What is that? Can anybody guess what you think is happening on the other side of that bridge? Let's see if anybody can guess. Yeah, BC will leave me alone once like, yeah, he will. It's because Daddy's not here at the moment. Let me show you what was on the other side of that bridge, on the far end of that bridge. Not that. A bride. A freaking bride. Doing a photo shoot bathed in the blue lights of this bridge. A bride in a full bridal dress. And a groom doing a photo shoot on the other side of that bridge. And Linda turns to me and she says, that is for you. So we're walking from what I let go of like, let everything be removed from me, turning around to I'm ready for love to find me. And we're walking right into a bridal shoot. Yeah, it's a beautiful location for wedding pictures. Yes. So that is what I needed to show me that, okay, I'm ready. I can do this. I can take risks again. I can, have the energy that's required to do this. And hope, hope and faith that, I really feel like, it's 20 years of being single, 20 years of taking risks and getting my heart broken and trying again and getting up and falling down and smacking myself in the face over and over, all of it. It's not like it came easily to me at all, but something in me just kept going. My friend Kathy, who is our prosecutor, in our cases about my sister, she's a good friend of mine. We've been friends now for 35 years. She said to me once, because she's never been married and never wanted to be, and is very happily single. But she goes, I just never had it in me she loves living alone. And she's had boyfriends, she's lived with men, all that, it's not that she's been devoid of relationships. She just never wanted to have that kind of life. And she said, that is not in me. She said, but Kathy, knowing you as I do, you need that. You do need that. And that just really stuck with me because, that, I don't know, she probably said that to me 20 years ago, or something like that, like in a conversation about it. And I was like, it allowed me to breathe a little deeper, like somebody who knows me is validating that it's okay to want that, even though I'm failing at it constantly, to want that. And I just feel like, I just feel that if not everybody has that dream, not everybody has that desire, that spark, or that need, or whatever it is, that destiny. But if it is there, if it's really there for you, there's a reason. There might be a reason because it's waiting for you. So yes, part of growth and change is painful and hard. And I went through a lot of it. I was messed up, and I had to confront very hard things in myself. You reach a point where it's like, it's not just these patterns. It's like there's something in me that's broken. And so later that year, I found this picture too. On 11/11 at 11/11/11. So on November 11th, 2011, at 11:11 a.m., I went to the bridge, and I see why they keep showing them. Yeah, this thing is being wacky. That poem, that's the day that I did it. I took a picture of this. The House of Belonging is this poem, is in this poem. This poem is in this book. And I stood on that bridge at 11:11, and I read that poem into the water off of that bridge out loud. I didn't care if anybody was hearing me or anything. I just stood on that bridge, and it was like it's called The True Love, this poem. Well, I'll read it to you. May as well just read it. By David White, The True Love. And I was like, damn it, this bridge is a bridge of, I called it my bridge of dreams. And I'm going to utilize it to the best that I can. So I just thought 11:11 at 11:11. So I went there on that day and I read this poem into the water. And you'll see when I read you this poem, reading it into the water makes even more sense. So I'm going to read it to you right now. The True Love. There is a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours, especially if you have waited years, and especially if part of you never believed you could deserve this loved and beckoning hand held out to you this way. I am thinking of faith now and the testaments of loneliness and what we feel we are worthy of in this world. Years ago in the Hebrides, I remember an old man who walked every morning on the gray stones to the shore of the baying seals, who would press his hat to his chest in the blustering salt wind and say his prayer to the turbulent Jesus hidden in the water. And I think of the story of the storm and everyone waking and seeing the distant yet familiar figure far across the water calling to them. And how we are all preparing for that abrupt waking and that calling and that moment we have to say yes, except it will not come so grandly, so biblically, but more subtly and intimately in the face of the one you know you have to love. So that when we finally step out of the boat toward them, we find everything holds us and confirms our courage. And if you wanted to drown, you could, but you don't. Because finally, after all the struggle and all the years, you don't want to anymore. You've simply had enough of drowning. And you want to live and you want to love, and you will walk across any territory and any darkness, however fluid and however dangerous, to take the one hand you know belongs in yours. I read that on 11/11. 3 years later, to that month, I met my husband. 3 years. I mean, it's nothing like that. I had to go through some stuff still for 3 years. But I met him in the month of November, 3 years after that. And that poem was read at our wedding on the edge of Niagara Falls, the turbulent water. So that's the beginning of my love story with my husband, but it took a lot for me to be prepared, and the gauntlet I had to go through and the struggles that I had to endure and the trauma I had to face in myself and the healing I had to experience, the mirror I had to look in. And, it's easy to keep just like, oh, there's another shitty guy, until you realize they're all shitty in the same way. And there's one common denominator here, and it's me. And so, I needed to look at some very hard things and keep getting back up again and knowing the time to get back up again. Now, I met my husband, and 6 months later, we were married on the edge of Niagara Falls. So, I mean, it took 20 years, but then when it was right, it was 6 months. And let me tell you, yeah, God prepares our person for us while we are healing ourselves postpartum. That is true. And that is what Iyanla Van Sant says in that book. In the meantime, your person is being prepared for you and you're being prepared for them. And like clinging on to that to dear life, because loneliness is a powerful thing. And trust me, I lived alone. I worked alone. I had a lot of friends and, but even having an active social life is, work, and versus just coming home and resting with somebody. Now, I was thinking about this whole thing with, this man body shaming me. Here I meet my husband now, and he meets me, he's very fit. My husband is an athlete, he's very fit. I'm still quite curvy, fluffy, you might say. And I'm still having, I still have metabolic issues. And after we met, I had another adrenal crash and, I actually got quite sick. And, the way that hits me is weight gain and stuff. And that man has never, ever one smidgen of anything said anything. He has thought I am beautiful through and through the whole thing. If anything, that's all he says. The only thing he's ever said to me is that it really bothers me that you're, down on yourself. Like if I put on some clothing that is too tight or like, oh, I just can't wait to get out of these clothes. Or like, I just, whatever, when you're not comfortable in your skin, but being with somebody who has just loved me unconditionally and has healed me, so that's a perspective too, that somebody can try to harm you with, those kind of words, those kind of, I recently ran into this on this channel. Somebody, I guess part of the buzz out there is that I'm never going to fit in my new bathtub. I mean, these people, these are grandmas that are body shaming me. Like, ladies, really? You haven't had any well, they probably all are dealing with the same thing, but it's just easier to project it onto somebody else. But like, yeah, somebody had to send me a message about like, we're all laughing at you because you're not going to fit in your new bed. Really? That's what it's sad, but it's like kind of funny. But, it doesn't hit me like it certainly didn't hit me the way that, it's another cruelty of strangers thing, but it just doesn't hit me like it did because being properly loved and by somebody who it does matter, it matters to me if my husband's attracted to me, right? And, who has never once ever had any kind of an issue with how I look at all on any level ever. I've never felt anything less than attractive to my husband, I really haven't. But, that's because, I've been healing and that's been part of healing me. And, I would say if you're out there looking for a partner, that's a very good quality to find in a partner, because when you do find somebody that's worthy of you, that sort of transcends that. And like, actually, like at this age, in our 60s, I'm just so grateful to have a functioning body. I'm just like watching people, like I can get down on the ground and garden and get back up. Like, some of my friends that are older, they can't do that anymore. Or they tell me that, like, I would really like to be gardening, but I just can't get down on the ground and get back up anymore. And I'm like, so grateful that I can do that. Like something that seems that simple to me now isn't going to be that simple to me in 10 years. So I'm just so appreciating my body and how it functions. You get less into what your body looks like and more to how it's serving you and what it's the problems you're not having, because you start seeing people around you, that are having issues. And wow, my eyes are working and my ears are working. And, for the most part, I met with my nurse practitioner this week, and the one and only medication I'm on, my thyroid, we have a plan that I can go off that, start tapering me down. Like I can be medication free, like I haven't had surgery. Like I'm feeling very appreciative of this body that I have exactly how it is, right now, because there's going to be 10 years from now that I'm going to wish I had this body. And so like, it's pretty freaking awesome. And that is a perspective to have. And it is awfully petty when somebody is going to body shame a 65-year-old woman. Like, wow, that tells me that what are you doing when you look in the mirror for yourself? Like, can you not look in the mirror and appreciate how your body is serving you, and how fortunate and how just absolutely a miracle it is that it's functioning in all the ways that it is. And that's the focus you're going to have on anybody, including yourself, that you think that that's a flex or a power move. That's not a level I want to aspire to ever connect with. So that is my story for today, and I hope you got something out of it. And it really was a miraculous thing, and I have to thank that man. Isn't that funny? Oh, girl, the PS on this. Here I'm saying I want to thank him, but I didn't tell you the PS. So of course he never saw me on that bridge. But homeboy kept me in his phone, clearly, because I don't know if it was before or after I saw him on that bridge. I really don't remember now, but it was a distance from the time that we had this thing. And he did respond to the email that I sent him, like, now I understand why I didn't want to go on a second date with you. But he did apologize. I didn't tell you that. He wrote me back and he apologized. And he said, you guys, he admitted, he said, you were not responding to me and I wanted to hurt you. He said that. He admitted it, that he wanted to hurt me and that he thought that I was a beautiful woman and he didn't really, because most people, men and some women, are going to think that's the best way to hurt a woman is to go after your looks, particularly your weight. I was maybe 15 pounds overweight at that time, but I carry it pretty well. I mean, now I'm probably more like 30 pounds overweight and I still carry it pretty well, I think. I'm not uncomfortable with it. But he did apologize and admitted, he said, I didn't hear back from you. I wanted to hurt you. I never replied to that because it's like, well, you still are an asshole because you wanted to hurt me. You didn't even know if I had seen those messages. Like there was nothing on there that said read or anything. As far as he knew, I was just signed on to my computer. But because he didn't hear back from me in his time frame, he wanted to hurt me. Well, that's his character. That's all I would ever need to know about him. So there was that exchange. And he might've written me a couple times because then he wanted to make it up to me and I just ignored him. I blocked his email after that. Like, we're done. I said what I said, we're done. I saw who you are. I'm still seeing it and bye-bye. So fast forward a few months. So apparently I'm still in his phone because we did exchange numbers for this date. And I received this message. It's going to be racy, but I'm going to quote it. I receive this text message on my phone. I remember exactly where I was driving in my car. I was headed up to my friend Teresa's house, heading up the 101. And I get this text message that comes in. I look at this thing. It says, I'm going to quote, and it's racy. Prepare yourself. Hi, Kathy. I would really like to pleasure you sometime. I swear to God. But he knew my name, so it's somebody who knows me. And he was out of my phone, but I hadn't blocked his number, but I removed him from my phone. So it was just a number that showed up. So I get to Teresa's house. I was like, what the hell? Who is this? Somebody's not on my phone anymore. And, we had been dating a lot of different people and stuff. She goes, well, let me call it. Let's call the number and I'll call it from my phone. So it's not showing up on your phone, and we'll call it and see who it is. And they didn't pick up, and it was him. It was that guy. Oh my God. So I went from being too overweight and not fit enough for this guy to want, to date again. But fast forward, he wants to. Whatever. I know, it's disgusting. We did get a good laugh out of it though. But I mean, this is the seriousness you need to take people like this. If you have people in your life, like I currently do, that are like trying to come at you sideways and stuff like that. And, they have an intent to hurt you. They have an intent to bring you down, or intent to, it's very clear that it is a total game. It is a total weapon. And I mean, look at this guy. He admitted he didn't even mean it. He meant it in one way, which was just simply he wanted to hurt me because he felt rejected. And he didn't even know that he was rejected. I mean, maybe he was guessing that because, the way I behaved that day on the date, maybe he was guessing that he was getting rejected. And so he was gearing up for that. But I mean, that somebody who is feeling the sting of what they're perceiving as rejection without even checking it out with you, and their first instinct is to hurt you, is not a person you want to have in your life, period. I mean, that's, even if they come back around and apologize or whatever, that is not a person, for me, that is not, unless it's like a family member that they're having a really bad day, or somebody you already have an established relationship with or whatever, that it might be, you need to work that out. But if somebody says, oh, I was trying to hurt you, or, it's clear that's, that's your, in case you needed to sign, there's your sign. So anyway, that was the end of him. He's on something. Oh. So I'm going to look at some comments now, but that was my story. And, like I said, three years later, I met the love of my life and married him 6 months later, like boom, boom, boom. So, but there's something to be said for believing and doing what you need that works for you, whether it's going to church and praying or whatever it is. For me, it was going to a freaking bridge. That was like my church. We also, I had this dining group. It's a whole other story, that I did this meetup dining group called Table for Six, where it was like 3 men, 3 women, and I would make this like 6-course meal. But I stopped doing that, but I did my final Table for Six dinner, all single women. And I just lavished on these women. And it's like, we are going to just love ourselves, this Valentine's Day. And so I just spoiled them rotten, and it was fun. And one of the things that we did at the end of it was I got these edible icings, or edible markers, and I got these corn tortillas and all this stuff, and we decorated a corn tortilla like a Valentine, and I cut the corn tortilla in a heart shape, and I said, we're going to make a Valentine to ourselves, and when you are ready, you're going to take this, because it was all biodegradable, it was all food, grade, take it to the bridge and throw your Valentine into the bridge, into the water at the Tempe Dome, which was, well, of course I did. So, I mean, it was just like doing stuff like that. Like, I'm going to believe, I'm going to keep believing, that this is possible, even though it's like, I don't have quite the evidence at the moment, but, that's just kind of how I managed, and kept my spirits up, even if they were getting dashed over and over. But, also, if I had to go back and do any of this phase of life again, if somebody were to tell me, okay, if I really was to believe it, Jan Levinsat, and so your person's being prepared for you, you're being prepared for them. And if I knew John Hyam was being prepared for me, like if John and I had met even a year sooner, or even 2 years sooner, there would be no Lillian, right? So, it just really, he was going through his paces. I was going through my paces. If somebody had told me that, I would have had a hell of a lot more fun with the dating process. If I just thought, this is just really about getting out there and having fun, because when the right one comes, you're going to know it, and all this is going to be over. So, like, why be looking for it if it's not there, or trying to make something out of something that's not quite right, or wasting time with shitty people, stuff like that. Just consider it like getting out and having a good time, and you're biding your time and you're having fun on the way and everything. Like, I would have been, if I could redo it and really trust in that, I would have had a lot more fun. So yes, there has to be a Lillian. So I'm going to look at some of your comments now because I haven't really been looking too much. And let's see, why dating sites are scary. They can be, but it also seems to be a way that people can connect, because it's hard to know how. So, hi, Bare Necessities. Came late to the story, but every bit I caught, my heart is singing. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, when people show you who they are, believe them. And that's important, the first time, when they really believe that and make a decision based on that, and there's, been many times in my life, including fairly recently, that like there's a reason you're getting a warning about people sometimes, and you can heed it or not. And sometimes you're kicking yourself because you didn't heed it. Oh my gosh, weirdo. That must have been related to the message he left me. Chelsea, this effing guy, right? Yes, yeah, silence is golden with people like that. I'm guessing he's drunk when he sends these messages. Probably. He didn't drink, though, at that date at all. But clearly he has problems. Isn't that funny? I can't even remember his name. I mean, I have absolutely no idea what his name is whatsoever. I met my husband on Yahoo Personals. Well, there you go. I met my husband on Facebook, not in a dating site, but he lived in Pennsylvania. I lived in Arizona. We met in a writing group on Facebook. So, I mean, we met online, not in online dating, but we did meet online. So, yes, Jude, I'm answering your question. They just asked. I'm currently living the app dating life after a long hike. It's interesting. Maybe we'll have you come on TSB sometime and tell if you have any good stories. Yeah, I'll tell that, Jude. I will tell that story. That's a whole other cool story of how we met. But we met online, but we were not, both of us we were not dating. We were not, I was going to get a dog, and, I was redirecting my energy onto that, and we met on Facebook. TSP, I'd love to hear stories. I'm happily married for 22 years, but any fun dating shenanigans, I'm here for it, right? I'm sure I have more, Chelsea. I mean, I've had many crazy dating stories that I could entertain you with. And I did get to the point where, like, because I can tell a story, right? And I can make a story funny. And I mean, a lot of them were funny, but then I got to the point of like getting tired of like, okay, my entire dating life seems to be about entertaining my friends with these funny stories, which are kind of tragic because they're funny, but they're not funny, So, so anything else? Yeah. I'm just starting to embrace the summer. Don't send my grands back to school yet. August 25th will be here soon enough. Oh, wow. That's pretty early. Speaking of Lillian, she got braces today for the second time. She's so thrilled. She's like, I love having braces. My kid loves having braces. But I've been waiting all day for a picture from her because she was going to send a picture of her braces. She was so excited to get braces again. Why does she loves braces, but she does. So, yeah, maybe he'll have a story for us soon. I could dig up some other dating stories. I mean, there's plenty of them. Yeah, and they usually involve guys forgetting their wallet. Like, oh, my credit card got stolen on the way to the date that they invited me on. Crazy stuff like that. There were so many. You only had braces for 8 months and you hated it. Yeah, I can't say that I loved having braces, but I had them too. I don't know what it is about, but she doesn't even know. She goes, I just love having braces. I don't know why. I mean, she's a beautiful girl. So John is texting me, needs to talk to me something about our heating system. So I'm going to have to talk to him in a minute. Oh, your son gets his braces off next week. I remember that feeling, Chelsea, like that. You go, I just felt so amazing and so polished and smooth. It was amazing. thinks all is a wild world in the 55 plus dating arena. It is, but you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there, which is good. I mean, there's a lot of people that are, still wanting to partner at that age range, which is great because, people don't know how to connect. And it's, that's one great thing about the dating app thing is like, people aren't going to bars anymore. And, you can do your hobbies, but like, what kind of a guy am I going to meet at a garden center? I was out single again, at a flower arranging workshop, I mean, you got to get really creative with your hobbies. I mean, I did meet my husband with a hobby, writing, but, it's timing. I think it's just so much is timing. Blind dating before the internet. In the ladies' room, a woman found it necessary to tell me all about her date with my date. Oh my God. That is awkward. Oh my God. It is tough to meet people in real life, especially if you don't have a job that's like at a corporate place or whatever, where there's a lot of people. When I was a nurse in the hospital, there was constantly people, a lot of people coming and going. But, when you work as a sole proprietor, in UTSP or, not working like in a big office with a lot of people, it just limits your options. You have to make a lot of effort to get yourself out there and find creative ways to meet people. Was you on TSP the next Golden Bachelor? That's hilarious. I really love the Golden Bachelor show. I watched the whole thing. I didn't watch the Golden Bachelorette, all of that, but I watched the Golden Bachelor. My son's 31. He's joined a young professionals group in Toastmasters. He says he likes the face-to-face. That's great. I thought about doing Toastmasters, but I was too scared. I mean, public speaking. Like this, that people would rather die than do public speaking. Oh, one of them. But I thought about that at one point, trying that, but I didn't do it. I'm much too shy for reality TV. Except for reality YouTube. Oh my goodness. So most of you are Adelson trial watchers, and we're about a month out from the trial, right? So we'll still is the plan. I found out we are having Lillian for 2 weeks in August. I'm like, I hope it's not, because I'm not going to forsake my summertime with Lillian to sit and watch a trial all day. But I don't think it's going to overlap. So, and I don't think there'll be a change of venue, and I don't think there'll be a delay. So if you haven't already and you are interested, I'm going to be chatting at the end of the trial. My plan is to chat at the end of the day, just in a private live stream. And it's not even on this channel. It's not connected to this channel. So it's elsewhere. And if you're interested in joining us there, you can send me an email, and I'll put you on that list. Yeah, the trial is coming up fast. So TSP might be coming on with me on the screen, that we'll chat about what happened in the court that day. My plan is to, like, the end of the trial day, Carl, I'm sure Carl might be live streaming it and talking like he did last time. Man, Carl. I have such a memory of Carl making me. I almost had to pull the car over on the side of the road. I was talking on the phone when I left Charlie's testimony day. I don't remember what he said, but and then I went home and I just watched it on screen with Carl because I could not sit in that courtroom. It was excruciating being in there when Charlie was testifying. But anyway, my point is the trial day will go on. Time to watch STS, Carl, whoever you like, at the end of the day, their roundup, wrap up, whatever, with their experts and stuff. And then we'll get together after that and talk about the trial and that, you know what I mean? So, and kind of just do a little roundup and chit chat about it at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Just informal and casual and comfortable. So that's why it's going to be private, just with our little small group. So yeah, if you haven't already sent me an email to get on that list. I will give you the details about that. So anyway, me too, Lisa. Yeah. One thing that I've learned is that, like, oh my God, this is such a better fit for me than like that great big channel. People have asked me, like, do you miss that? Not at all. It was so much pressure and I was so not good at it, managing all that. And I wasn't like, I was just out of my element, and made mistakes and pissed people off and whatever. But, this is just so much my comfort zone. So I'm happy to be in this much smaller, intimate, cozy community. Okay, Leanne, send me an email. I'm expecting some fireworks at this trial because of the witness list. That's interesting. And postpartum for days, maybe getting to the trial, which would be fantastic because people expect your report. Yeah, and if you don't know my email, I just put it in here now. So that's literally all you have to do, and just say, I want to be part of your live streams, and you will be on the list. It's going to be very small, very chill, very cozy. So it's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting. All right, guys. Well, anything else going on? I'm feeling like I need to connect with my hubs to see what's going on with this heater situation. It gets complicated when you start nearing 10K subs. Oh, maybe that's what it was. I think I had 8,000. Like, it's way too much for me. I don't aspire to that role in the world. So I would say I'm a backup dancer. I used to go and like to concerts with my sister. She's the oldest child, and so she was always like, I want to be Cher, like she always saw herself like out in front. I was like, no, I'm the dancer behind. Like that's my dream, is to be, the backup dancer. Like I'm a middle child. So I will get pictures of the bathroom. I'm going up there on Monday, and I'm going to start putting things together. We just have one major thing left, which is the shower enclosure. We've had to bump that because there was an issue with scheduling, and that's it. So I'm going up to start kind of putting things together. I just said, I need some time up there by myself to just sort of organize my head and how I want to start getting things back plugged in and organized, but it's going good. My husband, he's a trip. So I ordered this. This is a happy accident. I'll leave you on this note. In the world of happy accidents, I had like 2 happen in one day, and this is one of them. I ordered this dresser because he mentioned that the dresser that I had in there, my old house in Tempe, was all shabby chic, white on white on white, with the like weathered look furniture with the sanded down, everything like that. It was just total that style. Well, I had this one piece left. So it's that creamy color, and it's all sanded down and looks, intentionally old, but it's, made to look that way. But it's an antique, and it has wheels on the bottom. It's just a little chest of drawers. And I had that in our bedroom. And he said, when we're putting it back together, he goes, I got to tell you, I don't like that dresser in there. It doesn't look shabby chic to me. It just looks shabby. I'm like, okay, well, and it's our bedroom together. So I said, that doesn't have to be there. And I was able to find the dresser to match our nightstands. And I said, then we can have like the whole matching situation there. And so like, we're putting this bedroom back together, and it'll be all like, we're up leveling it, and I said, how's that? Do you like that better? Like, yes, that's better. So I found it. I was able to find the matching chest of drawers. I ordered it. Like, I'm so excited. It's coming. I'm tracking it. And I realized I didn't send it up to that house. I sent it to this house. Like, oh crap. Now we're stuck with this dresser down here. Are we going to have to rent a U-Haul to take it up there? Like, oh, I totally screwed up. I can't change it now. And I just didn't put the right address in. But then I'm looking at the fine print, which says you have to be there when they deliver it, because you have to inspect it. Because if there's any dings in it or anything damaged whatsoever, and you haven't inspected it when it's delivered, that's on you. So if it's messed up and damaged, you put it right back on the truck, and they'll you can return it. But if not, you have to send it back. Well, this is a big, huge 175-pound thing, so, and we're not up there. So it's like, oh my God, what a blessing it's going to, because there's no sure thing of the time it was going to be delivered. So I'm like, oh my God, that's so perfect that I had it delivered here. And I measured it and it fit like a glove in the back of my car. So it was not a big deal. Like, we can transport it up there ourselves, but this way we know we will be here whenever it is going to arrive. I'll get you out, boo-boo. And then we can quickly inspect it, which is what we did Monday. And then we're getting it out. We get it in the car. It's hotter than blazes out there. We're covered in sweat. We're ripping this thing off so we can, like, please wait, so we can look at this. It's fine. We load it into the back of the car. And I'm thinking, should we just take it up now? It's in the back of the car. Should we just go now? I'm thinking that in my head. But what can we do with the dog? Because Beasley, we can't leave him alone for that amount of time. And it's like, we're not taking him with us. There's no room for him in the car now and stuff. I come inside and John says, I'm going to run that up to the house right now by myself. He ran up there, dropped the dresser off, grabbed the other dresser, brought it back, and did that in one day. He's a gem, let me tell you. So he's up there setting all that up. So chest of drawers. So anyway, that's it. That's that. So that was a happy accident. I screwed up, but I didn't really. It ended up turning out to be better. So, so everything's coming together up there. I'm looking forward to it. I feel so disconnected from the house. I haven't been up there except for like 3 nights since March. It's July. So, I need to go and just hunker down, and we need to set things back up and figure out what we're doing and what we're putting on the walls and, all that stuff. So yeah, John for the win. He's a winner. He is a winner. So I'm feeling like I need to go talk to him. I'm going to leave you on this picture of, not that one, of the bride on the bridge. I walked right into that scene. See, I took the picture of it. So I walked right into that scene. And magic is all around. We just have to keep our eyes open and look for it and be open to it, I believe. And I'm wishing that for you, and whatever goals you're working on in your life, is look for the magic. That's it. My brother John is doing fantastic. He's got his friend that he's hanging out with on a regular basis now. So this is really, really a great thing. He's doing great. He's watering my tomatoes every day. I got to get this dog out. You hear him. I hear you over there. Hear you. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I loved connecting with you tonight, and I will see you when I see you. I'll probably do a live like once a month, something like that. But next month, we know what that's going to be. Donna, and Ladonna. All right. Love you guys. I will catch you next time if I don't see you around out there in the world. Take care out there. Bye for now.